What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to episode 2 of the Mind Gains podcast. My name is Vinny. Today I'm here with
Jay, pleasure for everybody that is returning. Thank you guys for the support. The support was absolutely phenomenal last week. Everybody that commented, thank you very much. And yeah, bro, it's good to be back.
Yeah, we got lots of great feedback on the episode last week, aside from my chair, so I went ahead and got a new chair. Last episode's chair wasn't in the best condition, so we're making upgrades. But we're back and we're better. Today we're coming in with a more structured topic. Last podcast we talked a lot about ourselves. Today we want to provide value. So go ahead and introduce our topic for the day.
Absolutely. So today's topic is specifically honed around how to get your first few clients, how to start your business, offers, leads, how we started, our experience in each of our industries, because believe it or not, they're pretty different, but there are some similarities in how to get clients, and just provide as much value as possible in that field.
Absolutely. Yeah, so before we get into the topic of today's video, how are you, bro? Share one good thing that happened this past week and one thing that you want to improve on going into next week.
Absolutely. So, completely and utterly phenomenal. I'm always going to be great. I think that anything less than that, if you say you are not doing well, that's exactly the mind space that you're going to be in. That's just life hack right there. Life hack right there. Never say you're doing bad. Always say you're doing good, even if you are experiencing some type of difficulty. It will help you be better, feel better, and it will trick your brain psychologically to think that you're doing fantastic. But
that's true.
One thing I'm looking forward to next week, that was your second question, right?
One great thing that happened this past week and one thing you could improve on going into next week.
Perfect. Something that happened that was fantastic last week was I hit my personal record for how many clients I was able to book in one single day. That was fantastic. I hit a new ceiling, but it's not really a ceiling because I'm going to surpass that soon. But that definitely put me in high spirits. It makes me excited. But one thing that I'd say we need improvement on is, this is more for me personally. I think that I can do better at taking on more. Because although I am very, I would say, outgoing in terms of I love the business aspect and taking on challenges, there are some areas where I'm hesitant. Right? So I want to be better at that. I want to be better at taking on more clients, building better systems, and just being better overall. Yeah. Okay. What about you? Same questions for you. Lay them out for you.
Yeah, so my high of this past week was we hit our all-time high for meal prep sold in a week. So super happy about that. Best thing we can improve on is what happens when we hit our all-time high with meal prep sold in a week. It was great being able to put out that many meals. Not a significant jump over our last record, but it's a high nonetheless, so we're happy with it. But it's a lot of work, bro. It's a lot of work that goes into producing that many meals, and just tightening up the systems, figuring out how we could get it done more efficiently is something that we could definitely improve on going forward. I'm only one guy, there's only one Vinny, so I'm just trying to figure out how I could allocate my time efficiently, because it genuinely feels like I'm squeezing every minute out of the week that I can, but it's still not enough, so we got to get better.
I think that's a good problem to have, though.
It is, We're young, we're learning, we're improving, but it's like, bro, sometimes we just want a moment to breathe, but we finally get task A done, now we got to get on to task B.
Yeah. The perspective of how much work needs to get done is so different it varies from people, right? Yeah. I'll briefly touch on this. I had one of my friends or coworkers, I would say, he was a friend back then. And he was like, bro, what do you do? He's like, I feel like you're always doing something. I'm like, yeah, I am. What do you do? I asked him the same question.
How could you not be doing something?
Yeah, and he was like, oh, bro, I work my 8 hours, I go home, and then I just watch my show. And I was like, well, you could change that if you wanted to. You can work on so many other things. Yeah. You have so much time in the day. But the level of how much work actually needs to get done varies by person. And the more you're able to squeeze out of your day, I feel like the more productive you can be. And, you can own the day. Yeah. So moving past that, though, I definitely want to talk specifically about people that are starting out. Okay. Yeah. Businesses that are just not open for business just yet, how they can get their first 5 clients, how they can get their first few clients, how they can effectively produce a good product, how they can bring in great customers, good money, and our experience over that too. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
For anybody that's starting out, and you can make this generic or specific about the fitness industry, which was where you were before the meal prep. How did you get your first 5 clients, and what do you think is important when you're starting out?
Okay. How I got my first few personal training clients, I actually don't think is very relevant to people just starting off, because I already had a huge network because I was working at a gym training large groups of people for years before I launched my own private studio. Right. So I was lucky to have those connections already. So if there's someone starting out with no connections, no experience in the industry, my best advice would just be to utilize all of the contacts that you have on your social media, on your phone contacts list. And I don't just mean put up an Instagram story saying, hey, I'm selling donuts, stop by and pick them up this day. No. I mean, message everyone one by one. Let's not use donuts. Let's use a service, because I did personal training as a service. So you're starting a pressure washing service. So I would hit up everyone in my contacts, make a specific personalized message to them, but don't ask that person directly for a sale. Say, hey, Alan, I started my new pressure washing business. I'm looking to get some experience in. I'm new to it, but confident that I could completely transform your driveway or whatever it is that you're going to be pressure washing. Would you happen to know anyone that's in need of this service? Now, 2 good things happen here. One, you're not coming off too salesy because you're not telling Alan to buy your pressure washing service directly. You're asking Alan if he knows anyone. So if you're lucky, Alan will say, hey man, yeah, I need pressure washing. Come by my house and, let's get this done. But you didn't ask Alan for the sale directly. You asked him if he knows anyone. So even if Alan doesn't want it directly, hopefully he'll ask however many people he's willing to ask, and that opens an unlimited number of leads just from that one conversation. Now imagine you have 50 contacts in your phone. You do that to every contact, and each person asks 3 to 4 people. You just unlock 200 leads potentially. I'm not saying you're going to get 200 leads by doing that, but there's the potential for that. So I'll just start with the cards you were dealt, bro. Marketing requires capital, and this is a free way to market without any capital, because when you're first starting a business, you likely don't have capital. So utilize that free resource. Every contact in your phone, send them a personalized message.
That's important. And when you don't have money, the next best thing to offer is your time. Right?
Absolutely.
And that is a great way to offer your time, right? Because you are reaching out personally to everybody that you know, asking them if they know anybody that needs that pressure washing service, and then going from there. How do you, now let's say Joe hits you up, or Alan hits up Joe, and Joe needs pressure washing, and you're at Joe's house now, and Joe wants his driveway pressure washed. How do you know what to charge? How do you know what to charge Joe for the service?
Yeah. As a new business, I think this is very important. When I first started personal training, I didn't know what to charge. I mean, I was inexperienced. And when I first started, I was lean and athletic, but I wasn't the most muscular guy out there. So I had to show that I could get people results through my experience. And, I wasn't comfortable charging industry standard, which is like $50, $60 a session for personal training, when I didn't have any big transformations through the door yet. So if you're first starting a business, what I would do is, and make sure you don't do this for too long. When I say this, I mean only your first five or so jobs.
Yeah.
Just so you could get some good reviews, get some referrals in or whatnot. But I would charge, a very discounted rate, if not free, for something like pressure washing. I would do it for free. Like, hey, I'm for my first 5 people.
Offering your time.
Yeah.
Offering your time.
Yeah. As part of that message conversation, say, hey, my first 5 customers, I'm doing a free pressure washing service for, in exchange for a review. For a review and a referral.
Review and a referral. Anybody that you might know that needs pressure washing.
And once you clear those first 5 people, you could do like a step type of system where you keep upcharging until you're up to industry standard and you're comfortable there. Or after your first 5 people, if you're getting really good results, you can jump straight into industry standards. Yeah. No. It's important to get reviews and testimonials first before you start charging. Because, you hit me up and you're like, hey, man, I do pressure washing, but you have no reviews, no befores and afters to show me.
Show me your work.
Hell no, you're not going to charge me $100 to pressure wash my driveway,
exactly,
So you just got to build that credibility first. That's all. Just show you know what you're doing.
Exactly. You can't charge industry standards right off the bat if you have 0 experience. That's like trying to sell a house on your first day as a real estate agent. It's just not going to happen. What do you know about the field? What do you know how to do? If you don't know how to do anything, you need to build up that credibility, that time, and that experience for you to be able to sell something that's going to be valuable. Now, something that I found valuable for me, for our business, and I think for the both of us, I can speak, is Alex Hormozi's book that talks about the offers, right? Yeah. How you can offer, and also how to gain your leads. Any book by Alex Hormozi is super good in the business industry starting out. the one we're talking about specifically is the warm outreach, right? Where you're reaching out to people that you actually know, offering them a service or asking them if they know anybody that needs that service, and then building off that credibility to actually start your business and start kind of scaling to make more money.
Yeah, absolutely. To tie it into my profession, you know, if I was looking for like a bodybuilding coach and a guy hits me up with no experience and he's like, hey man, I'm just starting off as a bodybuilding coach. I charge $400 a month. I'm trying to get my first few clients through the door. I'm gonna be like, $400 a month with no experience? That's crazy.
Like, what am I getting out of it?
But if that same guy hits me up and he's honest, he's like, hey man, I'm just starting off. I'm gonna get you good results. I'm confident in what I do, but I don't have any transformations yet. You know, I'm new to the industry, so I'll train you for free in exchange for a good review. I would help that guy out. Even if he offered it for free, I would tip him for his service just because I respect the honesty, I respect the hustle. And, you know, as someone that was once in that position, that's how I would have done it if I were to go back in time.
It's fire.
Yeah.
It's fire. Yeah.
You need to show, you know, people respect a young, hungry entrepreneur. Put young to the side. People respect any hungry entrepreneur that's just trying to better themselves. So I think if you show that vulnerability and hunger and show that you're not in it for the money at first when you're, you know, trying to get your first few clients, people are going to respect that and they'll want to work with you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I still want to know how you got your first 5 clients, even though you were already in the industry.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about my experience for a little bit and how I got my first 5 clients, because the industry that I'm in now is high ticket wedding cakes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always like that. When I first started, I started off with small 6-inch vintage heart cakes.
Okay.
And at the time when I had started, it was during the Valentine's season. So I remember that one of my first few clients that ever hit me up was actually through Yelp. I had just set up my Yelp account and I had my phone number on there, and they called me and she was like, hey, like, I'm looking for a cake. Do you do cakes? I was like, yeah, absolutely. What do you need? When do you need it by? Just trying to figure out how to talk to this person because I've never sold a cake in my life.
Yeah.
And what I learned about that was, although I did charge this person very, very low, it was extremely low. Like, I would never charge that ever again.
Yeah.
But what I did get in exchange was an honest, good review, which was my first ever review, but that also helped me as credibility. Because now when I reached out to people, I was like, hey, I am starting my cake business. I make cakes for special events. Here is what people are saying about the cakes that I've done in the past. And they see that and they're like, oh yeah, it makes them feel a little bit more confident that they're able to trust me with me making something special for their event or their special day. Yeah. So for the first few 5, how I got mine was by charging very minimal, but for an exchange. I didn't just do it for nothing, right? I did it like, hey, I'm just starting off this business, but I want to make this cake for you. I'm going to charge you this amount, even though this is what it usually costs. But in exchange, I just ask for an honest review. And don't say, I want you to give me a good review. No, I want an honest review. And usually, you know, they'll be honest about it. If there is something that's crazy or something that's wrong, they'll let you know. Yeah. But usually, if you have a good product, they'll let you know, hey, it was fantastic. Let me go ahead and leave you a review, which is super important for credibility. Yeah. Now that I'm in the higher ticket space, I think that the way that I get my clients is, of course, mainly through advertising. Since I've been in the game for some time, I've noticed that I do have organic reach as well. I'll have people reach out just because of the work that I've posted that I've already done for previous clients, where they're like, I need a cake for this date. How much do you usually charge? But my primary source of getting clients is through ads, my ad spend, which is something that the book also covers. I think that's super important if you want to look into how to get to those higher ticket sales. So that's my experience for my first 5 clients. Yeah. Tell me, I know you had connections already in the fitness industry, but how did you still get your first 5? If you remember, talk a little bit about that experience and how you made that happen.
Okay. Well, I want to add on to your thing real quick. Yeah. The reviews are valuable, but the referrals are valuable as well.
They're both valuable.
From those first few clients.
100%.
So don't leave out referrals. Referrals are very powerful, and you need to push for referrals when you're first offering those discounted services as well. Like, hey, give us an honest review and just share it with as many people as you can, because that's the least you could ask for if you did it for them for free, you know, or for a very discounted rate.
A cool hack that I did was I would get the review from the client, and then I would ask for their Instagram, and then I would tag them when I uploaded,
and then then
they would repost it on their story.
Bingo.
And then you would have a bunch of different like free leads, because I had like 2 or 3 people hit me up from that. Okay. Oh, I just saw that you did the cake for my best friend. I'm looking for another cake.
That's perfect.
That is valuable, and that's super powerful. So I'm glad that you added that. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question finally. How I got my first 5 clients when I opened my personal training studio was the same advice that I gave. I pitched my offer to every single person in my contact list, except now after doing years of group training, instead of 50 people on my contact list, I had 500. So that was very powerful, but still I went through the same pitch, and I already had trust built with these people because they knew what I was capable of as a coach. So those first 10, 20 clients, it took no time to be overbooked in that personal training studio.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, but that shows that I was undercharging at the time. And for what I was offering at the time, I don't regret undercharging because I got people good results. I built so many good relationships. And now we're kind of past that stage of business. I don't have the private training studio anymore. I shut it down last year. So if I were to go back in time and do it differently, I would have charged more, but I don't regret undercharging in exchange for the experience and relationships that I built, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't advise anyone else to charge what I charge because I was working crazy hours and barely making ends meet. So.
I remember. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that you refrain from doing that now because I feel like now you're in a way better position. Mm-hmm. But I will say that your offer is a lot different than it was before.
Yeah,
right? Because like you mentioned, you could make like personal training a high ticket offer, but now you're doing meal prep, which is a lot lower ticket.
Yeah.
What was your experience in getting those first 5 clients for meal prep? How did it start? I'm kind of interested in how that even started. Right?
Meal prep.
Like
how the business started.
How did that start? Yeah. How did you find that it was the perfect fit for what you wanted to do next?
Well, okay. I initially started the meal prep business for my girlfriend actually because she works at a school, and we needed something for her to do during the summer to keep making money because she wasn't getting paid over the summer. So I was like, hey, I have all these personal training clients that struggle with their diet, whether it's not having the time or not knowing what to eat or just not. People struggle with their diet for various reasons, but let's just try meal prepping for them. I'll hit them all up. I'm almost positive that at least a few of them will be down. So it started with just a sign in my garage that said meal prep starting June 1st, 2025. I remember the exact date that I wrote. And
fire.
Yeah, right off the bat, I think first week we probably did around like 60 or 70 meals, which now that we're doing 10x that, it sounds crazy, but it was very encouraging at the time and it was all her from the beginning. I was doing the marketing, I was the brain behind the business, but she was doing all the work herself. Now we have a team, because we're doing 10x the work, we need a bigger team. But yeah, that's kind of how it started, was literally with just a sign. I didn't do much promotion or anything because I wanted to make sure it went good before I took it public. But once it went public, how I did that was through ads. Because I already had capital because I had 2 other businesses at the time. So yeah, I just went straight into paid ads. Instagram ads are very powerful.
We love ads.
Yeah, so love ads. If you have the money for Instagram ads, I would recommend that over any other marketing strategy. But again, this video is for beginners. And I learned a lot of what I know about ads from this guy. So thank you, bro.
Absolutely. And going off that, ads are super, super, super important. And it really depends on how you position yourself in that ad space that is going to make the difference between you making no sales to making a substantial amount of sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that for me, it's been, like I said, that's my primary focus when I'm reaching out to new clients. Specifically me, is because I have higher ticket clients. It's not like I can just go door to door selling cakes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Higher ticket is a lot harder to reach because now you're very niched down. Yeah. Super niche down. And with ads, I feel like you can actually niche down to those specific clients that you were looking for that are going to open those doors instead of just trying to find needle in haystacks. That takes forever. So ads is very easy because it brings the magnet to the haystack and you're just attracting all the needles. Yeah. So I think that's super important. And
niching down is a good thing, though.
Niching down, exactly.
If I were to do something different from the beginning with personal training, that's what I would have done. And I had a business coach that told me this for the longest, and I didn't listen. It's like, I want to help everyone, but it's like if you have a heart problem, are you going to go to the family practitioner, or are you going to go to the cardiologist? You're going to go to the cardiologist, and the cardiologist is going to charge you more because he's going to offer you a specialized service.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you got to niche down into something, bro. Like if you're going to be a barber, you need to figure out your ideal client. Like I like to work on this type of hair, and that's who you need to promote to.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to go to the barber that specializes in the mid-taper rather than the barber that does men's, women's, perms, everything. I'm not going to supercuts, bro. I'm going to my barber.
Yeah, and that's very true. And that's another reason why I now just focus on the wedding industry. Mm-hmm. Although I do quite like quinceañeras, sweet 16s, even debuts, my primary focus is I do wedding cakes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so everything around that is positive, but just I'm in the wedding industry is so niche down, very specific. And since weddings are expensive, you can charge way more.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen this guy's shift and his focus on that over the years. Because when you first started, if someone hit you up for a birthday party or something,
anything,
you would do their cake. Yeah. I remember we had a friend, you charged him $100 for a cake once, and he got pissed.
God, you know
Still
what?
bought it though.
No,
but I've just seen the focus shift over time from birthdays to Mother's Day cakes to now only weddings. Like if people hit you up for a birthday and you know them, I'm sure you'll still do it, but you don't promote for birthday cakes, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's something that is super important, especially when you're now in a higher level, is the importance of no.
Yeah,
the
for
importance,
sure.
The importance of saying no.
I gotta work on that.
You know,
bro.
and believe it or not, like there were moments when I was first starting off my business, like you said, I would take on anything.
Yeah.
Any client. Do you have a birthday cake? Do you have a wedding cake? Do you have a I don't know, you're celebrating your hamster? Cake. Whatever it was, I was doing it, right? But
same here,
but
bro.
I was overextending myself. I was just so overextending myself. I was so broad that it was so difficult for me to actually make any profit because I was doing so much for so little.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if you're for everyone, you're good to no one.
Absolutely. A friend of all is a friend of none.
Absolutely.
And so when I niched down, I started to see that I was making a lot more for way less work.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're in the industry for some time, now you're able to actually charge what you want to charge. Sometimes even going a little bit higher than industry standards.
Yeah.
And that's okay as long as your product and what you are offering is up to par to that. Because you don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be Jay's Generic Cakes. No, I don't want that. No.
That's a crazy name.
That's a crazy... I'm just for the sake of example. I want to stand out, right? And for that, you need to have a great offer, great leads, great responses, and a higher price than most people. Because you want them to, you don't want to be compared. You want to be the best. But the importance of saying no, even I'm still learning, bro. Because there are some times I'm like, can I take this on? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
I want to push back on pricing with Jay because
that's okay.
We've took different approaches when it comes to pricing with our demographics. To be specific with where we're in a part of California that's not known for money. We're in a pretty rural part of the state, which makes running a business hard. But where I sell a lower ticket offer. I sell $10 meal preps. So for me, it's easier to kind of make the most out of this community. The approach I take with finding the best spots to target for meal prep is I find spots that need meal prep, not spots that have the money for meal prep.
Okay.
Because I could just do what you do and only promote in Orange County, only promote in the IE, only promote in San Diego County. Two things, there's a lot of competition there that's been doing it for a lot longer. So the approach that I've taken with meal prep is I focus on the Victor Valley, the Antelope Valley, Barstow, which from the outside looking in, it's like, but there's no money there. Why are you doing that? But there's no competition there. These people, I look at it like I could serve these communities of people that don't have access to prepared meals. There's still busy professionals everywhere. There's doctors everywhere. There's 100%. Teachers everywhere. There's 100%. Gym goers everywhere. So I'm just trying to provide our service to the places that might not have access to those resources. And I see it as a good thing. You know, I'm serving the community with something they don't have yet. And in return, these people are loyal to me and they give me their business week to week.
Demographics are important.
Yeah,
okay. I'm not saying that they're not. And I'm only speaking based on my experience. Yeah. And of course, my demographics are very different than Vinny's demographics.
Yeah, no, if I was only a trainer still, I would probably move down to Orange County or something. 100%, I probably would have done it by now. But I just see a lot of opportunity in the underdeveloped communities around here with what I do in the meal prep. So 100%. That's my approach right now.
And another thing I want to add to that is I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But in the industry that I'm in, selling wedding cakes up here, I'd go broke.
Oh yeah, no one's having weddings in Adelanto, bro.
Absolutely, and that's it's the honest truth. But that's something that any business owner has to understand. They need to know their demographics. Yeah, I saw that there was huge potential, although there is a lot of competition, even in my space. I noticed that what makes me stand out, the offers that I offer, which I'm not going to give the sauce ever. I'm just like, maybe if I do a course one day, I'll give the sauce. But what makes you stand out, even if there's a lot of competition, is definitely going to bring you more business. Now, pushing back a little bit on your idea of like, doing lower ticket, having no competition. I think competition is great. I think when you have competition, but I also, but I do want to add something I agree with you is when you're able to dominate an area, you can't have competition because you're the head of it. You're the lead gamer, unless you're starting with super low like $5 meals, which is impossible. So very different demographics. Demographics are important. Yeah, if you want to add anything to that.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, there's hundreds of phone companies out there, but no
100%.
one's messing with Apple, of course. Well, another big thing with Jay's business is where his business happens. Like, we live in the Victor Valley, but even people that live in the Victor Valley, where are they having weddings? Not in the Victor Valley, right?
No, and it's funny because I've even had clients that are from up here that have had their weddings down there.
Yeah.
Right? We've had friends that have had their weddings down there.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just more space. There's better venues.
I don't know anyone that's had a wedding up here personally.
No,
Yeah.
it's very rare, and that's super important with demographics, right? For me, the entirety of SoCal is my business.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes sense for me since I'm selling higher ticket.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody that's doing a little bit lower ticket, I think that expanding in one specific area is better. Right?
Yeah,
because
for sure.
less travel, you're able to get more, you're able to dominate the space.
Yeah, so the reason I tie back into that is because I don't want people to watch this and think that we're looking at this as an idea of, oh, this community is poor, we don't want to serve them. That's not it. It's just where our specific businesses would thrive the best. You need to take that into account no matter what your business is.
It does not matter.
And you're going where the weddings are, I'm going where the demand is.
Exactly.
Simple.
Exactly, and that's super important.
So I want to tie back to getting your first 5 clients and sending out those messages, because me personally, I've always been very introverted. Getting out of my comfort zone is something that's mandatory if you want to start a business. So don't take being introverted as an excuse. You have to get out your comfort zone. It's simple. Okay. You know, comfort zone is never going to win. But what advice would you give to anyone that's nervous to message those people in their contacts, whether it's afraid of judgment or they're afraid to ask people for money? My biggest thing was the idea of asking people for money was just like unfathomable to me, and something I had to get over. Well, you're not asking them to give you money, you're exchanging your service for compensation. But what advice would you give to someone that's nervous to just put themselves out there when they're starting a business?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk based off experience, because when I first started the cake business, I reached out to people that I knew, because that's what I had learned from what I've studied, from what I read.
Yeah.
And there was one specific person, by the way, they got blocked, that asked me, "Times are that tough, you're doing cakes now, bro?"
For real? Someone
Yes,
said
I'm
that?
so serious. I'm so serious. And to me, like, at first that pushback for me, I've been an extroverted person my entire life. There's not many things that I give a damn about.
Yeah.
But that comment right there, I was like, where is this coming from? Like, what the heck, right?
Okay.
And at first it did make me feel some type of way. But the way that I fixed it, I blocked that person and I continued to send out more messages. And I was like, I'm not going to let one person's thoughts of me not allow me to be dominant in my space, right? And I can speak now. I can say that I am probably top 10 wedding cake businesses in SoCal. I will proudly say that.
Yeah, for sure.
And if I had listened to this mate and said, oh, well, you know, yeah, maybe I shouldn't start this cake industry business, where would I be now? Probably not doing anything well, but like I'd probably be working my job still, my 9 to 5. You have to ignore people because not everybody's going to support you. And I'm not saying that you have to go out your way in blocking these people. I'm not saying that you have to do it, but there has to be a mental shift. The reason you're starting a business is because you want something more than what the traditional person does. If I was sticking to tradition, of course, getting a job, getting a corporate job would be my goal.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm after. I'm after leaving something behind, leaving a legacy, learning as much as possible, and not taking the traditional route. So listening to other people and their judgment and what they're going to say about you is not going to move the needle in your business, not going to move the needle in your mind. You can't listen to these people. You have to do what you think is the best thing to do. And the worst thing, you fail. But the best thing, you prove these people wrong. Yeah. And I think that's what kept me going. So to the person that I blocked, if you ever get to watch this, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm doing fantastic. And I would do it all again. Yeah. That's my mental shift and how I view that.
I think that's a great approach. To use any hate as motivation, because when you make it and you look back, it's like, all right, look what these wedding cakes got me, Yeah. But you touched on that part. I want to touch on the fear of asking people for money. A business coach that I had, a great tip that he gave me, mindset-wise, when getting over the fear of asking people for money in exchange for your service, or even charging higher prices in general, is that, you have a gift that you're trying to provide to people. You're trying to change their life through, which was fitness coaching at the time. But, if you're not making a living in return for that, if you can't keep the lights on in your training studio, you can't help anybody. So
you got to help yourself. And I'm going to interrupt right here.
Yeah.
Some people, you might disagree. You might not. Some people might disagree. I don't care. You need to be selfish before you can be selfless, which I think is what your coach was saying. Because if you can't help yourself, you can never help others. You cannot help others, right?
For sure.
So being a little bit selfish in the beginning is like, yes, I'm doing this for me because I want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
You need to be okay. Because if you don't help yourself, there's going to be too many leaks in that faucet. It's not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So helping yourself is going to allow you to help more people. Yeah.
For sure.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and tying back to that, when someone's paying you more for your service, they're gonna value that service more. Like if I'm paying a coach $400 a month, I better show up to every session, versus a coach that I'm paying $50 a month,
Yeah.
So
they're gonna value your time a little bit more.
Yeah, they value your time more.
Here's a hack that I want to add to that.
Okay.
For me, and I'm not saying people should do this, and people are gonna think that I'm stupid for doing this, and that's perfectly fine. When I first started the gym again, I decided that it was a good idea to pay $70 a month. Why? Why would Jay pay $70 a month for a gym membership? Yes. The reason I did that was because it was costing me $70 a month to not go. Why would I not go to the gym if it's costing me $70? I'm gonna go, and it's kind of tying back to that. If I had a coach that charged me $500 to the one that charges me $50, he's charging me $500. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put in some work,
and he's gonna get you better.
And
results
he's gonna give me better
put in
results.
the work,
exactly, 100%.
Just by his price point, like
Exactly.
the $50 coach might do the exact same thing as a $500 coach, but just the fact that he's charging you $500 and you have it in the back of your head, like, oh, I better get my ass there.
Yeah.
The gym I used to work at, and it annoys me that they got rid of this model. They used to have this thing where you would put down $500 and you would have to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And if you lose the 20 pounds, you get your $500 back. I thought that was a badass business model, bro. And they got rid of it. I don't know why they got rid of it, but when people get their $500 back, the
satisfaction.
You might think what does the business get out of it? Most of those people fall in love with the gym and they enroll in the membership. That's kind of their lead magnet.
Yeah.
So it encourages them to be a part of the gym community. It encourages them to go every day. And if they get their $500 back, of course, the gym doesn't keep the $500, but they might get a lifetime member now. I thought that was a phenomenal business model, but I guess it didn't work because they got rid of it. But it just shows how much people value the service when there's money on the line like that, or when there's money invested.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because people view money very differently. And I think that having that, you win at the end of winning. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
So not only did I win by losing weight, but I also won by getting my money back.
Yeah.
Who's not going to take that offer?
For sure,
And like you said, the gym wins by keeping them there, by retaining. We helped you lose 20 pounds. We can help you lose 20 more.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue working with us? Absolutely. If you're getting the results that you want, that you need. Something that I do want to dive into is setting up systems for your business.
Yeah.
I think that's super important, and I think that it took me a long time to understand how to build these systems for my business. You don't have to go to the nitty-gritty of it, but how important is it for you to have systems in your business, and how do you develop those for anybody that's kind of starting out in any other business?
Yeah. This is something that I still struggle with to this day, but organization is super important. As far as, when I first started my personal training business, it was, clients pay through Zelle. Nothing was on paper, and that's very bad. Because if you have like an automated system, you don't have to have those awkward conversations about, hey, your payment's due on this day.
Here's the link.
Yeah.
Get that done,
having a system for everything, client check-ins, payments, all that stuff is very important. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of bounce off that idea. The importance of organization is key. I think that one of my biggest fears is missing an order or missing a.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot more on the line because they are high ticket. So for me, missing an order is like
$1,000 order.
You better not mess it up. Exactly. So for me, organization is super critical.
Yeah.
So that includes tracking my clients, that includes tracking my numbers, that includes making sure that everything is organized on my calendar, making sure that my teams know what is on the calendar, what needs to get done. And if you start this when you're barely starting off your business, once you have exponentially grown, if your systems are intact, you don't have to worry about that organization problem, and you're able to develop a lot better as a business and expand.
I'm going to ask you some questions about this because this guy's a lot more organized than me. I actually took a piece of organization advice from him recently where in meal prep, and this is on me because, everything ties back to the head of the team, but everyone was having trouble finding where things go, and they weren't going back to where things are supposed to be. So we're spending so much time on finding, where's the propane? Where's the marker? Where are the gloves? So this guy told me to print out a label and label every drawer and put things there. I don't know why I never thought of this. This should have been done from the beginning, but that just shows how organized this guy is compared to me, and things have been super smooth since. So it was on me for assuming that since these people have been here for so long, they know where everything should go. No, I need to create a system that allows them to flow
absolutely.
smoothly.
Before we move into that, because I know you have some questions for me,
Yeah.
but I think it's super important to take responsibility as a leader.
Yeah.
Because you are the one leading your team. You are the one leading your business. You are responsible for anything that happens in your business.
Absolutely.
And I think that the faster you are able to understand this concept, the faster you can fix problems.
For sure.
Because sometimes we encounter problems like, oh my God, this is a mess. We're doing this. We're not organized. But you can fix it. You are the owner.
I mean, everything ties back to the owner. Even
100%.
if you have a team member that's messing up, as the owner, you either coach them or replace them,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
everything ties back to you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask away.
Walk me through a little bit of with your cake business. What are all the systems that you have set as far as receiving an order, fulfilling an order, distributing an order? Like what are some softwares that you would recommend people use, like apps, and what are some physical
Okay.
things people need for organization?
Okay, 100%. Well,
I might
you
learn
know
some
what?
things here too. So.
You know what? This is a really good question, and this is something that I think anybody that's in the space, any business space, would charge money for. But I'm gonna give it away for free. If you watch this far, you're about to learn some sauce. Organization, like I said, is super important. One application that I think is standard, and you need to do this if you're doing high tickets, is contracts. What I use for that, I'm sure you have different softwares for that, but my go-to is 17 Hats. This has absolutely helped my business with contracts because you can do templates. You put any template that you want for any specific order, you save it, you send it out, especially if your offers are very similar. If you are offering the same amount or the same offer is the same throughout your whole clientele, you can copy and paste this into the system and then just send it out when needed. So contracts, number one, because not only is it a verbal agreement, but now you have it on paper and you can put whatever you need to put on there. So that's for organization, and for legal and policy purposes, get a contract. Number two, when an order comes in, my first priority is going to be gathering all their contact information. This includes their email, their phone number, general stuff, name, anything, date, what time, venue, address. And I do that through 17 Hats as well. I can send out an invoice, or I can send out a questionnaire that says, hey, could you please provide us with your phone number, the address of the venue, what time we're going to deliver, anybody that's going to be necessary to contact during the day of, a coordinator. So all these specific details that I can have on their specific file that is going to help me organize for the day of. Thirdly, I need to have everything on the record.
Yeah.
The numbers are super important. And I know you mentioned before, it was just kind of like, hey, give me your money and here's your order. No, I have everything in an application called Notion.
Okay.
Notion is the number 2 application that I would recommend anybody that's trying to keep things organized. So what this does is you put your clients there, you put all of their information, what they paid, maybe what they owe, when their date is, and then you keep a track of, you can do this monthly, you can do this weekly, you can do this quarterly, however is easier for you. I do it monthly because I find it that it's way easier to add those numbers at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it's also good for tax purposes. Yeah. I think that when those numbers need to be revealed, I know exactly how much I made, how much I spent. So Notion, super important to keep track of all these clients. And then, of course, I keep a very big list of upcoming orders so I don't mess up.
Yeah.
All these orders are literally in line, chronologically ordered by date.
Okay.
So that's going to be my number 2 software. I think that's super important. Get you a calendar, Google Calendar, regular calendar. Yeah. Have everything on your calendar. I think that's pretty generic information, but if you don't have it there, the first thing I do when I wake up is look at my calendar. What do I have here, right? And since I have my systems already in place, I know exactly what I need to do for the day, what slots are available, what slots are not. It's helped me with time management immensely. Let's see. If you're doing any types of meetings with clients, and I know for meal prep it's a little bit different, but maybe if you're doing coaching and you need to meet with somebody, having a software for that is super important. I use personally Calendly. It's free. You don't have to pay for that.
I use the same.
Yeah, Calendly is super. It's super amazing because you can just put them directly on your calendar. You don't have to worry about missing a meeting or missing anything.
You could even link the Zoom meeting to the Calendly, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, I wouldn't give this information for free anywhere else. But for my cake clients, all of my clients that set up a cake tasting go through my Calendly process, and I have more information that I gather for them there because they're still a lead. They're not like closed just yet. But I'm able to get their information right away and then send them information via email, which is what's worked for me. Oh, here are the top 10 styles of wedding cakes that are popular for 2026. And it was sent by us, right? Something. So that's just keeps us in the loop. And then when we go back and do the cake tasting, we're able to say, hey, did you go over the information that we shared over email, like the styles and everything? Most of the time they have, sometimes they don't. But even then, just having us in the back of their mind when we sit down with them is like they have already provided value for us. Why would we not go with them?
That's one thing I haven't gotten into yet is email campaigns, but I find them fascinating because you would think a lot of people don't really check email, but there's
100%.
Yeah, there's reasons why all these companies spam your email.
100%, because it works.
Sure.
At large, it absolutely works. For me, something else as a business owner, and this is going to be a little bit more nitty picky, bro. I hate having notifications on my phone. I hate that because that messes with my organization. So I have built my phone. This phone has made me more money than I can think of, but also keeping that phone organized to the point where I know that any message that comes in is a potential lead or a potential client has helped me with organization. Here's a hack for any business owner. Turn off the notifications of apps that you are not using. That do not that are unimportant. You shouldn't be receiving emails from or messages from Etsy. Why are you sending me messages? Turn the notifications off. The only type of notifications that come into this phone are ones that are important. And that has saved me so much time and help me with organization. But that's just a little bit more picky. Like you don't have to do that, but that's just me and it's helped me a ton.
Yeah, I have a few more questions for you, but 100%. I want to tie into that. This guy's been very critical of me on organization, and I appreciate that. Like the exact 100%. Example that he just gave, like if he's changing a song on my phone and a notification comes up, he's like, Vinny, why are you getting notifications from the Lakers website?
Yeah, like for me, because I'm just not used to it.
I get it. It's a distraction and organization in general. Like he made me put all my apps into specific folders on my phone, and it's been very helpful. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, 2 questions I want to ask you. I'm going to ask you both now before I forget, but answer them one at a time.
Okay.
For someone that's just starting off a business, what's more important, setting up all the perfect systems first, or just getting the ball rolling and correcting as you go?
Okay.
And 2, something I've struggled with personally is setting up those systems while still being involved hands-on in my business, just finding the time to improve and tighten my systems, like set up a better website or, set up some online systems that could tighten up the process of everything. So what advice would you give in those scenarios?
100%. So to answer your first question, anybody that's starting out, I do think that it's more important to get those clients than it is for organization. Because if you spend your whole time organizing and you have 0 clients, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
the way that, it's going to tie into the second answer, the way that I would do that and the way that I did it was I organized as I was going. So as my business grew, my organization grew. Okay, so the more business I have, the more organization I need to have.
Yeah.
It came to the point where my systems were so intact that I didn't have to worry because whether I'm having 10 clients or 5 clients, I know exactly how my system is going to handle it. But it's also important to develop these systems early, not right off the bat, early. So it could be anywhere from 6 months, 3 months into your business, because you need to make sure that your business can handle the stress of clients. Because if you, let's say, I'm just going to ask you a question, you can answer yes or no, whatever. If I were to double the amount of orders that you have right now, would your system be able to take that on? And it could be yes, it could be no, you don't know. And if it's hesitant, that means no. So you need to have a system that is able to do that. And that's the way I see it. If I had to double every single order that I have now, would my system be able to take care of it? Yes, it would. Would I need more hands? 100%. To answer your second question, which it was, if you can reiterate, please, the second question.
Yeah, so I spend countless hours a week in the business. So where do I find the time to tighten systems?
So for me, this is something that works for me, and it's going to go back to time management and time organization. That's why I think the question of when is it important to delegate your time or delegate certain things for other people.
I think it might be time for a virtual assistant or something.
Something.
Yeah.
So for me, I value my first few hours of waking. And I've told you this since forever. So if I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m, those 3 hours of focused time are super critical for me. Right? I know yours is a little bit different because your time is everywhere. You're a very busy man.
Yeah.
But
like I have a client at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for me, what's worked is finding the uninterrupted space and time where I can actually work on these systems. And they don't always have to be physical. They can be like, okay, these are the systems that I need to work on. What are the steps that I need to do to achieve these systems to be in full force? And someone that I learned this from, hopefully he watches this, Sam. This guy is insane with his systems, and that's something that I've picked up from him, bro.
Okay.
You can say like, yeah, sure, he takes his time with certain things, but his systems are so dialed. I am so confident that if his business were to triple, quadruple today, his system would be fine.
Okay.
Of course, more hands and stuff like that, but. Does that answer your question?
No, that's a great way to look at it, bro.
Yeah.
Like if my volume doubled next week, would my system crumble? And if the answer is no, then the system needs work now.
Yeah.
Like even if it's holding down now, that's...
And it's a good way to look at it.
Because the goal is to grow, right? So
100%.
say next week I got 1,200 orders and my system...
Would your system be able to take it? But if you have that in the back of your mind, and now you're able to prepare for that. Okay, I need my system to be able to take on 1,200 or 1,200 orders. Can it do it now? No. What does it need? Oh, I need more hands. I need more this. I need more organization here. And so you're able to work on it while you still have maybe 800, 700. And it's going to absolutely exponentially explode your business.
This guy's putting you all on game. I hope you're listening.
If you're starting a business and you're just watching this is so much sauce. And it's funny because I'm actually developing this as a course for people that actually have a business in my space, not in my area, in my space. Okay. And these are some of the critical points that I'm giving away for free, which is fine. I love it. I love the idea of giving free value. So if anybody's listening up until this point, I hope that you implement those. Organization is super important. And that's just my strong. You have your strongs too, bro. Like there are some things where I look up to you. I'm like, bro, like you're a dog, bro. You're amazing. So yeah, bro. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So after all this serious discussion, we're going to wrap things up just about work-life balance. So you personally, how do you separate work-life balance? Is that even a thing? And when you have a little bit of free time, what do you like to do just to reset?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't believe in the entire idea of like work-life balance because I think that to my definition, work-life balance is I work these hours and outside of these hours, I don't work. And I don't believe in that. I think that as an entrepreneur or business owner, you have to work all the time, almost all the time, right? Or as much as you can. You have to put in as much work as possible, especially if you want to create a business that's going to outlast the rest. Because most of the time, people burn out and they just quit their entire business and, they blame it on work balance. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that it's not important to spend time with family or do things that you like to do. Because I'm a big fan of that, bro. One of the things that I like to do to distress is going off-roading. I love off-roading. I think that this has... I think without off-roading, I'd be in a worse position than I am now. That's my way of distressing.
But that means it's productive because...
100%.
You might see it as a hobby or some people might see it as wasting time or not being locked in. But everyone needs that time to reset so you can still function at a high level.
100%.
Alex Hormozi said this once. He's like, if you, something about watching Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that clip.
I know exactly.
Watching Netflix can be productive if you do it for 2 hours per day, if it means that it allows you to put in 8 hours of productive work,
Yeah, and kind of tying off to that, he also talks about how it's better to work 8 hours of productive work than to do 12 hours of lousy work.
Yeah.
Right? So if those 2 hours of Netflix is going to allow you to have an 8-hour, 9-hour productive day.
8 hours dialed,
Dialed.
Versus 12 hours, 10 minutes laptop, 10 minutes reels.
10 minutes phone, I'm doing here, I'm doing there. Yeah, so you absolutely need quote unquote balance, but it's more so finding what works for you. For me, I value my sleep. I need my 8 hours. And we might disagree on that, but I need my sleep.
I agree. I just haven't got around to making it happen yet.
If this means going to sleep at 10 p.m., waking up at 6, or going to sleep at 9, waking up at 5, I'm going to do it because that's important to me, right? Because that makes me work at full cognitive function. That's important for me. So, yeah, what about you? I know you said you're kind of working on that, but how do you find work-life balance? trips? How do you schedule for that? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, it's a little different because I'm in a committed relationship. So for me, when I have free time, the first thing I think about is what's a way I could spend time with my girlfriend, with my significant other. So, but I'd say the time where I release most of my stress is in the gym. I enjoy the gym, like I genuinely enjoy it. I'm passionate about it, so people might not see that as an outlet.
I see it as an outlet.
Yeah, people might see it as another chore or as something to do, but I genuinely enjoy the gym. There's a lot of hobbies that I've had to sacrifice in order to make entrepreneurship work. You know, basketball used to be my life. I haven't played consistently in years. That's something that I'd still like to get back into someday when time allows for it. Some would argue I should make time for it if it's something I truly enjoy, but I just see it as a sacrifice that I had to make, for now, yeah. But yeah, when I do things that are off the clock, it's usually just a day trip or, like we talked about in the last episode, I might take the laptop to San Diego or Laguna Beach or something, still get some work done, but spend the rest of the day just, enjoying the view. And let's tie back into burnout. One question that I think we forgot to talk about that I wanted to address in this podcast was what was some of our biggest bottlenecks coming up. But let's just tie that into how have you overcame burnout or have you figured out how to overcome that yet? Because answering the bottleneck question directly, my biggest bottleneck growing as an entrepreneur was burning myself out easily, taking on more than I can handle. So I'll let you answer that first and then I'll answer the same question.
Yeah, burnout. I think, like I said, if you don't prioritize yourself, sometimes it's going to affect everything. Not just your health, but your business, your friendships, everything. So when I mentioned earlier of being selfish first, take so you can give, that's extremely important so you don't burn out, okay? Because if you're just giving, there's going to come a time where it's like you can't give anymore.
Absolutely.
You can't give anymore.
Because that was me.
Yeah, and it's going to get to the point where you can't help anybody else. And I think the reason we're in this to begin with is to help as many as possible. Yeah. So for me, to avoid burnout, you need to make sure that you are a priority.
For sure.
Not just everybody else. You need to prioritize yourself. If you prioritize yourself, you're able to help everybody else that is around you. If you don't prioritize yourself, you will be able to help the people around you for a significant amount of time and then not anymore. Yeah. So that's my answer to that. How to avoid burnout. You prioritize yourself, your mental health, your sleep, going out, doing the things that you like, hiking, off-roading, gym. For us, it's gym. I think gym is super important. Anybody that's in business, if you are not taking care of your health, I think that's going to make you diminish much further or much faster if you're not prioritizing your health. Yeah. Because let's talk about that for a second. If you think that, 100% it would have changed everything about you. But if you didn't prioritize your fitness, although you like it as a hobby, I'm sure that would have some effect on the day-to-day that you do.
Well, I'm a fitness coach. So
that's what I was going to say, yeah.
Even if I wasn't a fitness coach, I think if I wasn't in good physical condition, I wouldn't be as confident talking to people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that I'm a good representation of my brand. I would have less confidence overall and even less energy and messed up hormones that allow me to flourish and do tasks productively on a day-to-day basis. So it's very important to be in good physical condition as an entrepreneur.
I ask you the same question. Have you learned how to overcome burnout? Have you experienced burnout? What is that relationship with you?
Yeah, I think I'm still struggling with it for sure, and it's just a time allocation issue. It's just I still feel like I have way too much on my plate right now for what I can handle. But when I was doing personal training full time, my biggest problem was not knowing how to say no.
Super important.
Like I said, I don't regret undercharging, but I should have put a limit on how many clients I was taking and set a boundary on times. Like I would take clients at 9 p.m. and then at 4 a.m. the next day.
Oh, God.
Absolutely fried myself. I remember I had days where I had 13, 14 clients on the calendar and my sessions were an hour each. And that's going back to me just wanting to help everybody. Like, it comes from a good place, wanting to take on all these clients. I don't see these people as money. I see them as, I want you to get your results. So if I can squeeze you in, I'm going to squeeze you in. But what that turns into is giving everyone half-fast sessions because I'm on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of 30 clients at the same time. So
and then the results get worse over time because you're not giving them the 100%.
That ties back into charging less or charging more, taking on less people, but being able to give those few people a phenomenal experience versus giving tons of people a mediocre experience.
100%.
And, it's a win-win because you're fresh, you're refreshed, you're not burnt out. So
Yeah.
very important to set boundaries on your time and your pricing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm even still working on that.
Yeah.
I've told Vinny this multiple times. There are days where I haven't slept for 36 hours because of how much workload we have going on.
It's part of
the
entrepreneurship.
sacrifice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
a problem is knowing, for me at least, is knowing when to let some things go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's the importance of saying no. Another hack: caffeine. Caffeine
Absolutely.
is a miracle drug. If you are
Absolutely.
not consuming caffeine on a regular basis, if you can, of course, I know some people can't, but for the people that can, if you are not using
a day.
caffeine to your a gram, but if you're not using caffeine to your advantage, you're missing out.
For sure.
I think for me, anywhere from 600 to 800 is what works for me, but it keeps me productive, keeps me going.
Yeah.
I'm not recommending to drink that much. That's just what works for me.
Yeah.
But I think that you can also vouch for that.
The FDA says no more than 400, Josh.
Well,
What do you think about the FDA?
Well, we'll have to save that for some other time.
What would I recommend? Caffeine dosage?
Well, no, do you recommend caffeine?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Caffeine's fantastic, yeah.
I wouldn't be where I'm at without it. So.
Yeah, caffeine's a miracle drug.
Yeah, and then people that drink every weekend and
Yeah, come on,
smoke
bro.
weed will be like, bro, energy drinks are so
Hey,
bad for you. What do
Let
you-
me tell you something, brother. Oh my God, and this pissed me off, and I'm gonna talk about it because it freaking pissed me off. So I'm at Winco, and I like the idea of getting 12, 24, sometimes even 36 because they're
Same
an
time, yeah.
affordable price,
For
right?
sure.
They're like $1.50 for the Ghost. So I have about 3 packs in my cart, and some not so healthy individual approaches my vehicle while I'm swerving around in Winco. He looks at my cart and he says, "Yo, man, those are terrible for you. Why are you having that many energy drinks in your car, man? Those are not good." And out of curiosity, I was like, let me be open ears. I take a glimpse at his cart. I'm like, I wonder what he's getting. Perhaps it's a little bit more beneficial.
Ding dongs, Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, 3 bags of chips, pack of donuts. And, I'm not going to get into it, but that pissed me off. Caffeine is absolutely essential if you want to be more productive.
Yeah.
And the benefits for me outweigh the cons. So
We're not saying abuse it or to depend on it.
No,
Like if you're depending on it to get through the day, that's a problem.
That's a problem,
But
yeah.
when you're about to go into your most productive and wired block of the day, some caffeine will absolutely help you get more out of it.
We'll have to dial in on a specific a day to talk about just that, bro.
Just caffeine.
Yeah, just or just anything that helps you focus a little
Productivity
bit more.
hacks.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's not a 2-hour morning routine.
Yes, exactly.
I think that pretty much sums it
wraps
up
it up.
for this episode.
Absolutely.
Unless you have anything else that you'd like to add.
That'll do. I hope that anybody watching this that does decide to start a business learns absolutely the most. If you have any questions that you think we didn't go over or that you think are essential to starting a business that we didn't cover, leave a comment. I'm more than happy to look over those, answer those questions. Until next week.
Yeah.
I think this is perfect.
I want to add something real quick. If you have an idea or you're contemplating on starting your business, start the business, bro.
Start the business.
How long have you been thinking about it? How long have you been trying to get this perfect plan together? When is it actually going to get done? Just get it done.
Get it
okay?
done. The point is,
Stop
yeah,
overthinking it. You'll learn as you go. You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable. You learn from each one and get stronger. Start the business.
start the business.
Thanks for watching. Until next time.